Let us turn to the future of uncharted seas. The science dazzles. Nanotechnology promises precision, delivering immunity like a brushstroke to a canvas. But tools are not enough. They must land on willing arms. The West teeters now. Will we embrace this golden age of vaccinology, or let it crumble in a desert of doubt? Critical thinking is, of course, our compass. Why do some reject solid and repeatable evidence that saves lives? Yet we too must question, are our systems flawless? No. Serious adverse events, though rare, are real. Cryptic adverse events, mostly ignored. Vaccines are our paintbrush against terrible horrors. Diphtheria's choke, polio's twist, Mpox's cutaneous impress. Yet we must paint with empathy, not force. Georgia O'Keeffe's flowers, vast yet intimate, suggest another way. Magnify the small, a child's first shot, to reveal the grand, a world unplagued. Our rhetoric must bloom thus, personal, vivid, alive. In the West, populism thrives on vaccine mistrust, science their scapegoat. Yet epidemics heed no ballots. They reap where division sows. What happens in a society where the state is no longer the protector against chaos, but its author? What works? Not shaming, but stories. Nurses and doctors who've cradled the dying. Parents who've buried unvaccinated children. These pierce deeper than charts. It's apparent to me that three futures lie before us. The first is renewal. Science leaps ahead. Pan-influenza vaccines, cancer and skin patch vaccines, while trust mends through dialogue, not decrees. Schools hum with healthy children, hospitals quiet, transparency and trust assured. The second choice is drift. Hesitancy lingers, outbreaks smolder, progress stalls. We survive, but scarred, disabled, paralyzed to the future, with science stagnant. And third, ruin. Rejection reigns, a plague sweeps, and we mourn what might have been. Which will we choose? Philosophy bids us act. Albert Camus in The Myth of Sisyphus finds meaning in the absurd struggle. Our Sisyphean task is to carry the border up the mountain of doubt and distrust, to seek to educate and vaccinate in the face of doubt. Critical thinking bids us probe. Who gains from fear? Who loses to inaction? Literature bids us dream. Tolkien's Frodo, weary yet steadfast, reminds us the smallest hand, your hand, can turn the tide. Rilke once more, perhaps everything terrible is in its deepest being something helpless that waits for our help. The viruses, the mistrust, the rifts, they patiently wait. The vaccine needle, as I've suggested, is our loom, our art, our pact. Let us weave boldly threads of science, empathy, and will into a tapestry vast as the globe, enduring as humanity itself. Part 10, the miracle we take for granted. In Camus' novel, The Plague, the character Dr. Roux observes, there have been as many plagues as wars in history, yet always plagues and wars take people equally by surprise. They needn't. This profound observation captures our paradoxical relationship with disease. Despite our history being fundamentally shaped by our battle against pathogens, we consistently underestimate their power until they're upon us. The miraculous nature of vaccines becomes apparent only when we step back to appreciate the magnitude of suffering they have prevented. Smallpox alone killed an estimated 300 million people in the 20th century alone. It now exists only in laboratory samples. Polio, which once filled hospital wards with iron lungs and left generations of children paralyzed, has been reduced by 99.9%. Rubella, diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, and many other diseases that were once considered inevitable childhood experiences now seem almost archaic in many parts of the Western world. Some of you may have read William Carlos Williams, who's both physician and poet. He wrote, "It's difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there." I would adapt this to say it's difficult to appreciate the beauty of life because of the absence of disease prevented by vaccines. Yet without vaccines, millions would die miserably every day for want of them. This invisibility of success has become one of vaccinology's greatest challenges. Herd immunity has paradoxically created the conditions for its own undermining. Generations now grow up without witnessing the devastation these diseases once caused. But others, despite the data, despite the recommendations, and despite knowing, persist in denying and undermining and of subterfuge. In closing, recall Albert Camus, who wrote in The Plague, "I have no idea what's awaiting me or what will happen when this all ends. But for the moment, I know this: there are sick people and they need curing. They need disease prevention. The work of vaccinology has always been, at its core, about protecting people against sickness, against disability, and against death. The challenges that we face today, scientific, political, economic, cultural, psychological, require us to approach our current imperative with new tools and expanded vision. So I would ask you, let us together move forward with both humility about the limits of our knowledge and confidence in our capacity to learn, with respect for legitimate, diverse perspectives, but commitment to shared truth and attention to individual concerns and dedication to collective welfare. For this is what we do. This is what we are called to. So I will end the way I started a few days ago. Please stand up and speak up. And with that, I will leave you as I do every year. It's kind of gotten to be a tradition, with a benediction, an ending. So for each of you now, go forward, having made the good choice to be counted among those who spoke out, rather than suffer the ignobility of those imprisoned in fear, silence, and acquiescence. May you check your email after this Congress, only to find your paper was accepted and your grant funded. May you be free of any interest other than the public's best interest in your work. May you point the way to others that they too may enjoy the fruits of prevention and the safety of vaccine protection. Blessings to every one of you, and may we see you next year. Thank you.